remorselessly into the oncoming traffic. It was about 2004 and I was coming to the end of my time as editor of The Spectator. I was MP for Henley-on-Thames, and I think I must have been late for some parliamentary engagement, so I was puffing along on my pushbike when I got to that bit where the traffic all turns left before heading down Shaftesbury Avenue. I needed to make progress, but my path was blocked. I'd come up against the rear of a red single-decker bus operated by Transport for London. I considered my options. I could squeeze past it on the left, but there were railings, and I didn't fancy being ground to a paste as the bus moved off. I decided to swing out past the bus on the right. I don't normally favour this manoeuvre, since there is always a risk that the bus will accelerate and you will find yourself surrounded by fast-moving vehicles, some coming at you from behind, some heading towards you. No cyclist enjoys that. But things were pretty gummed up in Holborn that day, and I reckoned I would have the time. I stood up on the pedals and gave it some grunt. I was overhauling the bus when I started to feel that something was awry. This bus had no end. It just went on and on. It seemed to be two buses, articulated by a giant rubber concertina. Now the bastard contraption was picking up speed, and I had to respond. I pedalled harder and harder, but it was keeping me stranded on its right, and now it was turning left. As it turned, the Leviathan lazily swayed its hips, and whoa! I was being sent out into the oncoming taxis, parping at me and cursing and telling me what I already knew, that this was getting dangerous. Hey! I yelled at the bus and saw the passengers look down apathetically at this man in a suit panting with terror and exertion. They gazed bleakly and went back to their papers. Avoiding the cars, I made a superhuman effort to overtake this double-tailed diplodocus, but now I had come up against a traffic island. The bus was so huge that its tyres were scrunching over the curb. I was going to get minced. I knew I was beat. I got off the bike and pressed myself up against the railings of the traffic island until the monster was past. Who the hell put that thing on the road? I asked myself. And by what authority? I later established that this was an 18-metre Mercedes-Benz Citaro Bendibus, capable of carrying about 144 people and their assorted pushchairs and luggage. The man who put it on the streets of London was the mayor, Ken Livingstone, and he had done it on the authority of the Greater London Act of 1998. I vowed there and then to do whatever I could to remove him from office. It would be an exaggeration to say that I spent the next 2 or 3 years plotting the political assassination of the mayor, but the seed had been planted in the crevice of my brain and slowly began to germinate. It must have been back in 1996 when it had become